Hello there, welcome back to the channel here. I'm going to start off this little sort of round robin tourney thing that the boys threw on the Discord, I think organised by Parappa there. It looks like it might actually all be Jakku, I'm not too sure. I think I remember saying that before as a joke, but maybe that's what they decided to do, just play Jakku. We're going to kick things off here with Parappa versus Grenooli. So the way that this is going to work is that they're all going to play each other. I think there's 4 of them there. So heroes suit Parappa and Grenooli, and whoever's got the highest map score sort of, wins the event as such. We've got Grenooli here in the teal, playing the Trade Federation, and he's up against Parappa here in the purple, playing the Galactic Empire. And this is Jakku, as I said, a big dead Star Destroyer in the centre, a bunch of unclickable doodads, terrain, broken, scrappy looking things, but it shouldn't affect your walling or anything like that, I don't think. The Nova in the style of the scrap pile, as is the ore. I think that's some textures that expanding fronts have added. And there seems to be some okayish food, a couple of Minox that Grenooli's not nearish until he found his dewback and he's switched all his workers onto that. A few nerfs, looks like 5, potentially 7 nerfs, or 8 nerfs. And these massives can't be lured, but they can be scout lured, so you can move behind them and push them towards the command center. So want to get on those once the dewbacks are done. Trade Federation would be quite a good civ here. Map like this, it doesn't really look like it's pretty open in the center, so Trade Federation would be very strong for if they went for like the troop center first, but he does have his carbon down. But that's certainly something he could have done, just munched off the stragglers, gotten the Mountie across really early and caused a lot of mayhem there and try to get build up a big differential between them in terms of resources gathered. Because it's pretty disruptive having a Mountie in your base. Galactic Empire though, they can repair their workers, so it'd certainly be better if it was maybe against a biological civ. And they'd maybe have to go and build themselves a medic, which would harm the worker production. But I'm not too sure whether a medic is... it could be an advantage in itself, because it's kind of set and forget. You could just leave it there and it'll just keep healing your workers and you don't have to do the micro to keep repairing them and stuff. Second dewback going to be getting lured here. Looks like he's trying to lure the massive potentially, or thinking about it, but does have a bit of time until he's munched all the food here. And you can see the worker distribution, there's the troop centre. It's going to be a Mountie opener here. And would expect to see the same out of Parappa here. He's building a very interesting carbon. I would have thought this would be the prime spots. But he's decided to go right next to this Nova here. He's maybe basing it on how he wants to wall his base. These prefab shelters down. He maybe wants to wall to here and here. Parappa really likes to go for early walls early on, but the Mounties are going to hit much sooner than you can ever get any of those wall foundations properly down. And they tear through what you'll be using, the light walls, most of the time. I think that second dewback yet. Maybe have a quick look and see where they stand in terms of the food. A little bit of a food lead for Parappa, but definitely really behind on that carbon, and that's like 200 carbon behind, which is, the equivalence of this power core here. See the Mounties are queued up. Before the power core is even going to be done, this one's going to be up at what, 42%? Or even further. The walls are going down, but again, Mounties can get in there quite quickly. And this does harm your eco. When you don't have a lot of workers, it's a bit crazy to have, like 2 of them just running around walling. Was that like 10% of his worker population? Looks like he's walled the hunter out here as well. He's going to have to find another path to go for that dewback. Looks like he will get his light walls down just in time for this Mountie, maybe. Oh, maybe the Mountie gets through. But this one, he's just taking a different path. Really not quite paying attention yet though. Parappa adding a lot more workers here. And he might actually get frozen out of getting his dewback here, and that's going to be a big disaster here. Because what you would want to do against the Mounties here, if you weren't going to be going for Mounties yourself, is to try and tech up T2 quickly, get some troopers together, and then try and take advantage of this window in which they can't get to T2 as quick as you, because they've poured a lot of their food into these mounted troopers. They had a lot of their early workers on carbon. I don't know if Grenooli's actually just forgotten about this mounted trooper over here. He's still sitting here not really doing anything, but it certainly served the purpose of making Parappa too scared to go and get that Jew back, and that's 340 food, which is just, it's an awful lot at this point in the game for no carbon investment. We've got the scout, as is tradition, being really annoying, harassing the workers here. And really not quite gotten through the wall yet. But this is going to really slow you down, having to build a prefab shelter on every part. And a lot of the players have done some testing with this back when we threw the tournaments before, when they played maps like Arena, because it would be the same sort of principle. Oh, and he didn't get that foundation started at all. But with the medium walls that you spawn on Arena, and it takes a lot of carbon to keep putting down all these foundations. But Grenooli's in. There is 2 trooper recruits out here, and they're in a strongish position, but unfortunately they're nowhere near the carbon. And the carbon is really what you want to be protecting with your troopers. You try to sort of wall up the top here with the troop centre, but it does mean that these trooper recruits, you know, the slowest unit in the game basically. Then again, I've never watched them race a pummel, I'm not too sure, but they're pretty damn slow. They have to run around chasing after these super mobile mounted troopers, and they're going to struggle in that regard. He said to move his carbon over here to, is maybe a slight upgrade from his previous carbon, but look at how the workers are bugging out here, and it just looks like a disaster in terms of the economy. And meanwhile, at home, Grenooli's getting everything laid down for pretty much he could just go towards tech level 3 if he wanted after here. And I think he could actually dive the power core. There's a lot of Mounties. Well, the trooper recruits are a little bit just behind them though. Grenooli needs to be careful though that he doesn't get walled in here. You can see that that's the idea that Parappa's got. Oh, a little path here, and he just wasn't quite quick enough to get that foundation there. He maybe could have walled them in and gunned them down in that spot, but Grenooli can just keep running around the base here, distracting, causing idle time, making Parappa build things he doesn't really want to be prioritising right now, and Grenooli on his way to T2, 300 surplus food, and then Parappa, unfortunately, down to about 60 food. He's barely keeping his actual command centre going. They are, at least, very least, he's kept up in workers. But then again, Grenooli's stopped building them now for a little bit, so I think Grenooli could maybe be 1 or 2 workers ahead at this point. So what can Parappa really do now? Well, he's got to get his farms down, he needs to get himself off to T2, he needs to get rid of these Mounties, he probably needs to get that Jew back. And then he's likely going to have to sort of turtle, I think. And, oh, Grenooli's found his Mountie. He's joined in the battle here. He would need to sort of turtle and get himself to T3, I think. If you look across at things, it doesn't look like there's a second troop centre or anything like that. There's a couple of Mounties here. Maybe didn't need to make so many. I would say that I don't know if this has really been handled the best way, because Parappa's pretty much just sort of stuck in T1. I think Grenooli probably could have just went up to 3 troop centres, kept making Mounties and got an upgrade for them and just killed them. But I'm going to take the calm and measured approach, get the mech factory down. You build up all these farms to get the food quickly, to get up to T2, that it's going to give you enough of a surplus to pretty much just ease in even more of a surplus with the Mountie, the nerfs in the nursery. It's up to 1200 food, so it's pretty much a closed and shut case for just going to tech level 3. And he's still got these units as well, he's got no fear of being counter-attacked or anything like that. Even doing a little bit of walling at home. Just trying to make some really good decisions. Make sure that he's completely safe. And Parappa, again, stuck in T1. Up to 1500 food right now. Probably should have went for the spaceport first, and he could have used some of that. Could have even bought the carbon for his next building. Again, these guys can't defend everywhere. And he has those workers back down at the other carbon because there's not really any room for them up the top here. And I think what Parappa really should have done this game against this is, I think for one, his carbon should have been here, and I think his troop centre should pretty much be next to his carbon. So when the trooper recruits come out, they're near there and they can defend that area. I think berries or something that should have been kind of claimed, maybe in T2. If things were such a disaster, you could have even like turreted towards them or something, but High level 3, halfway on the way there. I think that's probably kind of just going to be GG. He's trying to move out with his troopers now, but it's so late in the game at this point. Grenooli is wildly ahead. Look at that difference in food. That's pretty much the surplus of food that Grenooli had when he was waiting to click the button for T3. Troopers making their way across, but it's going to be that point where they start attacking the wall, Grenooli hits T3, and you're probably just going to GG. Because we know that strike mechs and fighters absolutely decimate troopers. And he doesn't have the infrastructure to really deal with how well set up Grenooli's economy is going to be to spam these units out. Second mech factory here, War Centre, getting the upgrades too, so double strike mech production is going to be quite lethal to deal with here. You'd have to have turrets down, be on ore, more than likely. And he's even got the Mounties to jump in with his strike mechs and do some damage somewhere. Could maybe go for the power core or something like that. It's going to be quite overwhelming. He does manage to sneak in here and displace the workers a little bit, but the strike mechs are out and he's trying to move forward and kill the strike mech, force some micro from Grenooli here. Maybe kill 1 or 2 workers, but it's not really going to do too much, unfortunately. The trooper's dead. The strike mechs are on their way. And Grenooli, once he gets things back to normal, he can even add on 1 airbase as well, just to make things even more complicated for Parappa to deal with. Forcing a sort of dance between having to make maybe grenadier troopers or grenade troopers to deal with strike mechs and anti-air troopers. I don't even see any turrets down here. Parappa's still trying to keep the Mounties out by replacing the wall with his tech buildings here. He's managed to put prefab shelters behind everything. This trooper is going to sneak up on the Mounties here. Still no airbase. The airbase would be really good here. It's bad of Grenooli to lose all his Mounties there. I think he should have kept them. They'd be useful. If, you know, Parappa did manage to get to T3, the Mounties would be really good. If he tries to get 1 or 2 mech destroyers out. I've got sentry post for vision here. So what is Grenooli up to at home? Still getting his upgrades. Got quite a lot of them. Strike mech count, he's trying to like put them round and limit any area that Parappa has to mine. Parappa did manage to get himself up. All those farms have eventually paid off. But how many strikes are we going to be at? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I got, what, full upgrades? 9. Kind of reaching that point where if they're all together, they could probably kill a mech destroyer. Up to +3 damage. There are not going to be any upgrades for Parappa, I don't think. Wall does go down and in they come. If you could maybe afford the armor, that would be really helpful. No power core though, with building that at the wall. And as I said, they can kill the mech destroyers pretty easily with these upgrades, right? He's doing a bit of repairing here. The workers are dying at the same time though. And Grenooli does have double strike mech production. He can just actually stutter step and shoot the workers. 2 mech destroyers though, that should be enough to push this away, because the DPS is just going to be much higher. So maybe 5 shots there, getting 2 at the same time there, because they're weak. And to get command center down, he's going to call GG. And all that, even with Grenooli kind of showing mercy there, not just putting down the airbase as well. Because the airbase, just the fighter flying over, would be really annoying to deal with. Probably what you should do when they're doing walls like that. So we'll go into the second game, which again, Jakku. Grenooli going to get the New Republic here, sticking in the teal, and Parappa switching to red here. The Galactic Empire. We've got what, 5, 7 nerfs here. Healthy looking food stockpile. His resources are going to help him wall here. Parappa must like that. Getting the nursery down, luring the Minoc. There's Dewback, really going to grab that, although the Dewback nearly walking home there. That would be super tilting. I just realised I don't have coffee. Only old, cold coffee. That's not good. Can I survive? I'm going to have to. So 3 Minocs, 4 EOPs, Nerf Star. It seems kind of a lot of food, potentially. It's sort of quite nerfy, not quite nerfy, quite mounty-ish. Really, what's this carbon? Ugh. Ugh. Look at this. I think it's kind of a lot of food. I think you can maybe do like a really quick T2 here. It's not like safe food as well. You should have your lures before mounties hit you, and then you can use your scout to knock a lot of these things forward. I like this part for Grenooli defending himself. This would be a nice area to farm in, and you're gonna have a food processor up here as well. It's kind of nice to be able to farm towards the edge of the map like that, because you can close it out quite simply. Maybe that's what he's thinking about with his carbon here. He wants to have these things together. But this would be a nice little ring to build around as well. And this isn't too far from the command center if things go wrong. Much better carbon for Parappa this game. What, 5 or 6 on the carbon here. Don't know if there's going to be mounties this game. Just looking at the worker distributions. Because I think with 10 nerfs here, you could probably go down to about 3 on food. And then these extra guys could be on, you know, carbon for you. And Grenooli has enough for a troop center, not quite slamming it down yet, so maybe both going to go for a quicker T2. Not too sure how Parappa does play the game when he gets his walls off. If he likes to rush behind it, or he does just go for a tech level 3. You can see he's already started getting those light walls placed down. They look quite good in the Red Empire style. Well, this does sort of look like cake icing. A big red wire across the top, I don't know. And looking at the resources, yeah. Pretty much standard T2 ethical rush game. Could maybe make a couple of mounties on the way up to T2. Send them out quickly. Force a bad reaction. Do some scouting ahead of time. Quite a mobile unit, can get there very quickly. Is that Grenooli getting himself housed? Disaster. When you cancel and just go T2, yeah. You just pretend it was all planned. And gonna get those trooper recruits queued up quickly. Probably needs to make another house, make sure he doesn't have the same problem again. And as we said, a lot of that food could just be pushed towards the command center. It's going to be enough to get this like initial rush going here. And looking at things on the other side, we can see some farms going down here already for Parappa. I don't think Parappa's set well to deal with it other than having the walls, but the walls are pretty damn strong and expanding fronts. They're like 3 times stronger than the vanilla walls. And it's only going to be like a few troopers that make it across, and they're going to take a long time to go through this. You would actually want to have the one Mountie with you potentially. And that's not even forgetting the fact that when you start hitting the wall, Parappa can build behind it. It's going to cancel this maybe to build building troop center. He really likes having his troop center away from his carbon, doesn't he? As part of his wall up here. And the troopers are making their way across. Is there much opportunity for them though? Not seeing any gaps really. That's probably why he needed to get his farms, because he didn't lure these AOPs. It's about 420 food, in fact more. 560 food. Go for the wall, but not quick to put down a foundation yet. He needs to be careful. See how long they take. And there we go. Leisurely time to wait for a second troop center. And even bringing the scout for a little bit of differential damage here. Parappa is T2 though. And despite not having really as streamlined of a T1 here, the light walls are going to really help out. So what can Grenooli do in this instance? Because he can't really get in right now, can he? Though he does have, you know, a bit of an advantage going. What you can maybe translate it into is just forcing Parappa to spend that little bit more, be distracted with this push here, and try and get his farm infrastructure up quicker and go for the tech level 3. And then that way, with that tech lead, he can maybe push that advantage. But alas, Parappa not really paying attention there. Going to let Grenooli in, and Grenooli even using the scout here to maybe tank some shots, chase these units, mess up their AI. Tank some of the command center there, and he can get in and... You see, this is the problem, if he can make it round to the carbon, it'd be really annoying. But he never really followed this up. He never put down a second troop center. Because he could be running in with more troopers right now. He just focused on placing those farms down, fixing his eco, getting his food processor there, all that jazz. And I don't think this is too bad for Grenooli. Now what can we note here? Looking at Parappa. Only 3 farms here, but Grenooli's on what? 9? Got 3 times the amount of farms right now. All Grenooli needs to think about is a counter-attack, and it looks like he has been, because he's placing down these wall foundations. Using even getting a spaceport here to wall out that little gap, and it's going to take a long time for Parappa, who's gone for 2 troop centers, built all these troopers, to make his way across here and find some damage. The weakest spot is probably going to be the light wall route. So we'll see where Parappa goes. It doesn't look like he's sort of heading in that direction. And Grenooli might want to buy some time there, but he's gone off his way to T3 here. But remember, there is 10 nerfs as well, plus the berries. But he's got a good sort of split of his economy here. Not really got too many workers on this because they are kind of slow compared to the farmers. We're deleting the wall at the exact moment that Parappa's heading over here. I'm going to quickly build a prefab shelter because he doesn't want that. I think this is maybe covered by the prefab shelter, so this is nice for Grenooli because it's some good time efficiency here. These guys probably needed to go through this, but Parappa at home, sort of getting close to pushing the button, just lacking the buildings here, but up to about a surplus of 600 food or so. Building more farms. I don't think he really needs any more farms. I think he just needs his tech buildings and some Nova. Really moved his carbon workers. It wasn't the best carbon spot in the first place. And he'd be feeling quite comfy. Maybe pull these farm workers to place some prefab shelters if need be over here. Hits T3. Instant airbase this game. I would expect that there's a strike mech queued up, 50% of the way. Prefab foundation down. And out comes the strike mech, who's just going to shoot at these guys until they decide to run away. Because it's 6 range versus 4 here. And Grenooli wanting to chase him down, but Parappa could call his bluff, run forward and try and kill it. He's probably going to have to. He's going to go for the elevation maybe before he decides to do that. I think he should have taken the trade because it's just going to slowly kill him down. Looks like there's a few more troopers over here. Try to find some more angles, but not really any found. Fighters are out now. So fighters and strike mechs going to be heading across here to Parappa's base. And Parappa got a grenade trooper, but I don't think he's seen the fighters yet. He's going to be wishing he built an anti-air trooper soon. Grenooli's doing that thing. He likes to build his fighters up. Ever since he was even a rookie, he would do that, and it's something he still kind of seems to do. Never really been that confident to just rally them across. Maybe he likes the surprise element of it, you know, like the blitz. He comes in when they don't really expect it, and he'll deal a lot of damage with them. See, we don't have any anti-air troopers at all. Oh, good shots here for Parappa though. He gets another one, this one to half health. You can get it again. But in come the fighters now. And the fighters need to go and kill the grenadier troopers. Get them. And those new anti-air troopers are tanky boys. A few workers going down here, but really it's almost at risk of Parappa holding this. Let's get a few though. That's what, 4 or 5 workers down? Which is quite a lot, being stuck on one command center right now. Parappa just starting T3. He's kind of slow to get going there, I think. I don't know if it's maybe because he was building these grenade troopers, they're like a lot of food. He maybe should have prioritized getting his tech level going. Especially when he's got walls. It almost looked like when he had his troopers, he wanted to sort of fight in the middle there with grenade troopers, which just it's not a battle you should ever really consider taking on. The tech level 3 units are just that much better. They're so good. Big bank of resources for Parappa though when he does make it off to T3. Meanwhile, at home, what's Grenooli really up to? A few workers on Nova to fund his fighters. He's probably been using the spaceport a little bit for a while, just to get the Nova he needs. Doesn't need too much though, with just 1 airbase. Coming in again. It's equal numbers, anti-air troopers, 2 fighters, but they do land those shots. So down to 3 versus 4, and just going to take advantage. Oh, there's a lot more over here. It's looking like a fluffy rabbit base at this point. Anti-air troopers everywhere. Strike mech's managing to get another worker here. Find those angles being annoying. And I think all really Grenooli needed to do here is get 1 or 2 more command centers down. Just buff up his economy a little bit. Collect his units outside here and then just make a forward. And start building artillery. You see that Parappa is going to get rid of a lot of this aggression and slam down 2 command centers. He might be able to get his eco sort of back up on par. It might already be there, really. Only 4 workers down. And he's about to be... well, they're going to keep the command centers even, so... Alternatively though, New Republic could just go for T4 air as well. But we'll see. New Republic have some pretty good options in a 1v1 setting, what they want to do. Because they absolutely have heavy artillery. Really just being annoying with these few units here. Looking for more angles, bringing some more fighters across. Gonna snipe that grenade trooper for the workers again here. Just keeping that aggression going. While at home, slamming down some farms here. Got quite a surplus of food. While almost funding all of his command centers. I don't think there's really any... Didn't put any resources into mech upgrades or anything like that. So it's kind of it feels like a really hollow, false contain, really, that Grenooli's got going for Parappa. And what Parappa should probably want to do in this scenario is has built this heavy weapons factory and got in here. He needs to get across the map with these MDs, and it looks like he does sort of realise that. Because I think he needs to apply pressure immediately, because we can see a research centre is going down. These units should be not chasing these guys. Honestly, they should be marching up here. He needs to get like a little bit of a makeshift of some mech, maybe some of his troopers and stuff, and he needs to be applying pressure across the map here. And honestly, maybe even getting a fortress down. Because Grenooli is going to be very close in a moment, going to press the button to go up to tank level 4. Built a second airbase. There he goes. And I fear that Parappa's just going to take too long to do the right thing here. Then what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of fighters flying around and pretty much just killing many workers. It's kind of like a contain it's going to be a proper contain when once he gets the air. Because it's going to be very difficult for units to be out on the map. You could at the very least, you know, in expanding fronts, get the anti-air battery tech and, you know, keep a lot of these farmer workers probably quite okay. But you're going to give the entire map away. I don't see the AA mobile with these guys. They're really sort of keeping an eye on things and just being annoying still with these two strike mechs. I'll lose one of them to the strikes here, but... He either gets a fortress down, and this is kind of the spot where Parappa probably wanted to go. They even managed to munch his Nova over here. Don't grab any holocrons. Once New Republic get up to T4, going to be an absolute menace. They even get those cheaper, you know, Jedi techs. It'll be quite easy to flex in one or two masters with concentration to convert some of the units. Go for turrets or something like that. Give, you know, vision, run around, be annoying. Parappa just he doesn't look like he knows what to do. He's walking back and forth. He's like, oh, I'm going to go around here. But by the time he gets there, he's going to see Grenooli's tech level 4. At home, he's got quite a surplus of food. But he's always just that bit behind. A few workers moving across. As I said, this is all the right idea. It just maybe needed to happen like 5 to 8 minutes ago. Currently at T4 now. Handful of fighters. Probably just about enough. Get his upgrades. Do some damage there and then he can tech into something different. Unless he wants to double down and go for attackers or something like that. Or bombers. Which should be a good opportunity for when you've just got, you know, you're the only player with the air. I did close out this wall as well, so grab what Nova he could. And the fighters are going to be able to just clear this army if they want. Yeah, I think in EF you could probably just go out with these guys to raid, and then as soon as your shield finishes, you could probably just rally attackers to this. I've never really watched like small amounts of attackers fight AA mobiles, but given what I know about attackers, they're probably going to win that quite quickly with a defender's advantage. Especially with the T3 versions. AMD. I don't even think he needs to bother with ground unit. I think it's just you just go attackers now and defend your base with them. Where are the fighters? Is he hiding them somewhere? There you are. So fast fighters, they're going to come in here, and anti-air troopers not going to be great unless there's about 10 of them together, so they can sort of one volley each of these. Look how fast the workers are going to die. So Strike Knight's getting into a good spot here. The armor. He's going to make an attacker. Maybe he's got the wherewithal to do that. And this is kind of annoying. Going to build a fortress, rallying in some pummels here, but I just don't think he's going to do as much damage as Grenooli is. And what becomes an issue right now is how does Parappa get these out of his base? Because I know how Grenooli gets rid of all this, because he's already got a fortress. And the attackers can probably clear all these units eventually. So it's becoming a bit of a base race. We've got two attackers here. They're going to get rid of these strike mechs because they're the biggest threat to the economy right now. This could have been like a really good idea from Parappa if it was just a bit quicker and he maybe tried to set up some batteries or something at home. Because it's like, this is stage 1, but there's no stage 2 and 3, and stage 2 and 3 would be making sure that he can get his farms and his economy back. Because the attackers do pretty good damage here. And we're just going to need 1 or 2 cannons to start hitting this fortress. And you gotta call GG there, kind of sees it coming. Can't do anything to get his economy back, but good plan, but maybe just needed to be that a little bit quicker executed. And game 3 here. Yeah, always Jakku. Welcome to Jakku again. Parappa in the blue with the New Republic, back to blue. Grenooli in the red with the Resistance. Nice little sand dune thing going on down here. The elevation. We've got some dewbacks, some banthas, go into the nursery. Kind of low nerf. A little bit lower than the last 2 games, I think. Not quite 4 though, it's maybe 5 or 6. Looks like prime Mountie, really. Quite a lot of EOPs, but it's going to take a long time to lure them across while try to save the carbon from it. So I think Mountie's quite strong on this one. And what do I talk about at this point? It's all the usual same T1 stuff, isn't it? It's here we are again on Jakku. Kind of late finding these. We're gonna harm the food eco here. They're about evenish with their garrisons. 80 food lead there. Carbon processor is going to go down, so no straight to Mountie shenanigans. Although I wonder if Parappa's doing that. A little bit late in getting his new lure. Got all the workers to carbon so that they're not sitting there idle. It's definitely what you would want to do. It is going across for... Oh, it's a terrible carbon. Just when you thought you saw sense, you know. Then again, they're all quite bad, aren't they? This map. I'd probably go here. I don't like having crap carbon like that. I'd probably go here and build around it, to be honest. I'd build walls around there. I like some permeance to it, because I don't know. I prefer this as like a cornerstone for the base because you're up against the edge. But I think Grenooli's going to be a bit ahead in the carbon game. Maybe needs to grab a few of these guys manually though and send them across to the right hand side because they're very heavily left here. And food processor down. That's like getting kind of close to like a build order loss, really. This is dangerous. There's a lot of EOPs as well. It's probably not know about these. It does. He's sort of scouting though. It's like he wants to know if he's getting mounted. Maybe this is the time for the medic luring. But this is a lot of food to pass up to. I mean, at least if you're going to drop the carbon, maybe it should be on the EOPs. Right, he's going to see troop center here. We don't have power core yet, but we do have Mountie queued up. Grenooli, a little bit of a slight advantage here, I suppose, with these EOPs coming sort of in distance of the command center, so he can keep his food production going. He's getting basic training here. And maybe so he doesn't forget it. He hasn't really rallied anything long distance to grab any Nova, as far as I can see. So this is only really going to be 1 or 2 Mounties. I don't know if he should have gone basic training. I think he should have just kept making Mounties. Especially if he's paying attention and he sees how ahead he is in this regard. You can see all the workers running around like we're looking at an AI player right now, building light walls everywhere. And Scout starts its aggression here. It's pretty much you know what's coming. You know you've got the same food as I do. You know what the map's all about. Scout shooting the carbon workers should be the biggest tell from that, other than the fact that he's scouted the troop centre. And in comes the first mount. He does get a nice little wall off bit here. This guy just finishing the wall. There's no gaps, is there? Oh, there is. Right? Oh, no, it does close out. And he can bring his scout to fight the scout. It's kind of looking like game 1 now. Did manage to get his walls down, but he's going to have to keep dropping prefab shelters to every little bit of light wall. This is going to be the point where Grenooli's going to be wishing he never actually got basic training and he rallied some workers to Nova because he could just keep making these, but... Corner. Look how many prefab shelters he's forcing. Like each time this is 25 carbon. We got 1 trooper recruit. Scout did die. So what does Grenooli do now? Probably like game 1, just goes T3 and double airbase this time, I would hope. It's kind of GG, I think. I just think Parappa's just going to be like really behind. We're not even on the way to T2 yet. When you play this way, it's like it's playing not to die, but I don't know if it's really playing to win. A couple of trooper recruits heading away out of the base. Must be the upgrade on the way. Trooper, Grenooli's kind of just playing tiny little bits of aggression, you know. But behind it, he's getting very further ahead in terms of economy and tech. Should totally go for this. Probably make Parappa make another troop center if he did. I reckon if he went for that, he's going to make a troop center. Surely. And gets on a Nova here, but these troopers are going to find the nicest spot on the other side. The dangers of using your resources to wall. And you can see Grenooli's already up at about 800 food or so. Spaceport on the way this time, rather than the mech factory so quickly. But it does have enough for a second building. Let's see if there is a bit of a visualization and like it's like Parappa's ahead in carbon, but like look at the food difference. It's pretty much like the equivalence of getting to T3, you know. It's like Parappa has all that carbon, but it's just not been invested in as quickly. It's not had time to pay itself off. He's got all these extra farms down, but they're going to need a few minutes to generate all that food difference. And that's the problem, especially with all this early workers building things, building prefab shelters. It's just not very efficient. And it's creating windows that Grenooli is taking advantage of. And even here, like, tiny little skirmish with what few units he has, he's getting enormous value out of. And that's further putting Parappa behind, because he's going to make all these troopers to clear this off, and then he's going to counter and they'll just die instantly. And then he's even further from getting to T3. And Grenooli is just going to be feeling super comfy. He knows he's on the way to T3. He knows he's not getting a counter-attack because he's got the units in the base. And he sees exactly where Parappa's base layout is. He can see where the workers are distributed. Once he gets off to T3, he'll know exactly where to go with the units. He's feeling pretty comfy in his mechanics as well. He's just running around making sentry posts now. I've come a long way as a player. And off the troopers go for their counterattack. Behind the Star Destroyer. Yeah, he's just gonna call GG there. As anticlimactic as it is, it's kind of just the way it goes. And yeah, we kind of know why, because it's just, this isn't efficient, I don't think, and there's not really any way to come back from it. He needs to cut more corners, I think, and stay on par with Grenooli's eco. And I think like the EOPs is a big difference as well. They need to get in earlier. But yeah, it was interesting to see. It's certainly been some pretty good showing of gameplay. You know, Parappa did well in some of those circumstances to not outright die. But I think Grenooli played pretty solidly throughout that entire series and very well. Very smart decision making. Just making a few units here and there, containing round and making sure that his tech was just always ahead. And he always had a new advantage to press against his opponent. So GG well played to both players. I'll do the rest of these games when I can. I'll probably just break them off into their own little series, so I think it would be 3 games a pop. And yeah, so if you enjoy the content, please consider liking and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get involved in these types of games that we play, we have a GBG Discord community that you'll find in the description field. You'll find the server invite for Expanding Fronts, which is the mod that we're playing here. Find a link for Foobly.com where you can play this game online if you want to do that. And if you want to support the channel another way, there's a PayPal link down below if you want to buy me a coffee. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.